With me now to discuss is CTV News U.S. political analyst Eric Ham. Eric, let's begin there. This is a real remarkable shift in U.S. policy. Trump said it's a decade. I believe that it's 25 years since there was any interaction face-to-face between the U.S. and Syria. And now, after speaking with Turkey's President Erdogan, Trump decided to lift all of the sanctions on Syria. Can you talk about what this means, and ultimately, why do you think the U.S. would make this move?
This is a massive, massive change, not only in terms of U.S. policy, but we have to remember, if we go back to when Assad was ousted, Donald Trump actually spoke about the ongoing tensions and turmoil in Syria, and quite frankly said that was not our problem. Even though we saw the previous administration actually seeking to work with the new government in Syria as an opportunity. And now we see this massive sea change for the president who, in the immediate aftermath of his election win, did not want anything to do and was keeping an arm's length away from Syria. Now, all in, seemingly, which is actually a huge step considering that Syria has also already had talks with other Western nations, including France. Also, I think what we see from this about face is perhaps one of the reasons why the president nixed the idea of actually traveling to Israel. We know Israel has been engaging pretty aggressively in military incursions in Syria. And now that you have the administration now normalizing relations with Syria, this is going to put Donald Trump squarely at odds with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And now you wonder, what does this mean, not only for U.S.-Israeli relations, but for Israel, who was beginning to increasingly encroach on territory throughout Syria? I suspect one of the reasons why we saw this was not only the lobbying efforts by Turkey's President Erdogan, but also perhaps from these enormous investment opportunities that we're seeing from both Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Clearly, it's beginning to pay off in droves as now we see this about face by President Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you've touched on something, and I want to dig a little bit deeper before we go into what Trump is doing there. Trump also wants to make a deal with Iran. So how does that jive with the U.S. relationship with Israel?
I think it will damage the relationship, very much like what we saw when President Barack Obama initially moved into the JCPOA with Iran. That was something that created even greater tensions between Barack Obama and Netanyahu, who was the prime minister at the time. Their relationship had already been at odds. And I suspect now we're going to see, again, I think Israel moving further and further away from the United States. And now the question becomes, is Saudi Arabia beginning to supplant Israel as that key ally in the region, as we continue to see now President Trump moving closer and closer towards Iran? But again, I think what we have heard from Iran is they are speaking the language that Donald Trump likes to hear. They have made clear that if there's an agreement, there are billions, perhaps even trillions of potential investment available and opportunities for the United States. And we know Donald Trump is deeply, deeply transactional. And I think that could place the relationship between Israel and the United States even further apart as these talks continue.
And Eric, is that really making business deals? Is that really what is at the heart of this trip to the region? I mean, we should point out, and you've seen the lavish reception that President Trump has received just about everywhere. It's incredible. So do you think that this welcome that we have seen for the president is to secure deals with him?
Oh, absolutely. And quite frankly, that's why he took the trip, because we have to remember, it is not just about these massive deals that the president can now tout when he returns from this trip. But we also have to remember that the Trump organization has massive investments and opportunities also available and afforded to them. So this is both personal as well as political for the president, and he's taking advantage of all of it. And I think that's why we're seeing these countries, these leaders, they are speaking the language that Donald Trump likes to hear.
Eric Ham for us. He is CTV's U.S. political analyst. Great to have you with us this morning.